obtained with the conventional system in my orthodontic practice. And it can be correct without any expression, with expansion and health, periodontal health, and including occlusal health and adequate occlusion. And I studied more than 500 cases in Master Damon. It was a special time in my life, because I learned how to treat a lot of people, malocclusions, situations with self-ligation systems. For example, this girl, it is correct. She's correct with any kind of the palatal device with high forces, just with air-to-air light forces, and using the system and the physiological system to do the best development of the patient. And the essential Damon principles was that treatment planning must be factually based. Do not allow the orthodontic forces to overpower the biological system during any treatment phase, including in the rectangular archware, for example. The aim of night-time phases of treatment is not only to level and align, but also to reshape the arch form specific to each individual patient through functional adaptations. Complete leveling, align, and rotational control require full depth rectangular archware. We treat until 19/4/25 example. Even in adults, Damon do allegation that can obtain dental alveolar remodeling with the application of light forces in a low friction system, enough not to obliterate blood vessels that maintain the necessary oxygen supply. Remember that tissue necrosis resulting from the high forces using conventional techniques to move teeth for frictions with elastics, our elastomerics. So the proposal is to do different. Like this case, and the lower, look, the mandibular arch. How can I do that without an extraction? How can I put the two incisors in the arch? Well, the first tip is leave no teeth behind. Leave no teeth without engaged in the arch. Bond half brackets if you need for the only space that you have. So bond half brackets, half conventional brackets to partially block out teeth. Well, I use this hook of traction in these teeth that is very, very grounding. There is something Eduardo, there is I believe that is the KISS, the questionnaire in the middle of my
your screen. Can you close it?
Yeah. I'm trying.
Sorry.
No, I don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Okay.
Perfect.
In the master daemon in Spain, you appreciate this case of my professor, Pereira. My professor Pereira was the professor of this master daemon and made the most of these 500 cases. Look, there is a dental growing involved canines, high canines, and any space to put in this position. And now he will try with low friction. And in this appointment, he put the brackets, but with just different prescriptions, different torques, and different tips. For example, in green, low torque. Of course, when we put the canine in its space, you can put these incisors to forward or superiorly. So low torque. And red in this 13 is high torque, and blue standard torque. And look the evolution. The first archward, 14 Q9 So the connect the tooth to the archward at that distance with a metallic ligator and a cold spring, and the phase 2 1925 stainless steel, and the final. Well, I finish and I end my course and my period in Madrid, and I come back to Latin America, and I initiate the semi-process with complete customization of torques in Brazil. So I admit that I had difficulty to use Daemon on all my patients because of its cost, of course, and even more difficult introducing it into the university, where patients cannot pay for their treatments. Well, another situation is it was not easy to keep the cost of Daemon in Brazil, because also due to the difference between the quotation of the currencies, as 5 reals for $1. So I thought that the same situation can occur in another country, of course. They must be better in countries with high economic, socioeconomic development among families. Here in blue and green, for example. In other countries, Daemon is considered expensive if this country has a less socioeconomic development. Well, orthodontics in these countries do not migrate to self-ligation system or migrate to low quality alternatives. In Brazil, you have this situation, a fight against the Chinese products and the American products. But about the self-ligation products, China makes a lot of great stuff, but that doesn't apply to orthodontic braces. So in Latin America, the prescriptions determined for conventional braces prevailed in self-ligations braces. And the principal prescription that prevailed was the prescription of the Professor Ronald Ross. And the Ross prescriptions idealized to conventional system exported to self-ligation system is something so contradictory and so paradoxical. What it means, we could never transfer the standardized prescription of the conventionals to the goals of the self-ligation braces. Why? Because Rhodes is a technique designed to provide extraction of bicuspid, lingual retroinclination incisors, canine with negative torque, and lingualization of bicuspids, a lower bicuspids mainly. So if you take these prescriptions and put in the self-ligation brackets, you can do this question. Why am I using self-ligation brace and not achieved self-ligation results? Look this photo. It belongs to our student here in the university in Santos. Look what she was able to do with a self-ligation system. And I thought she doing that with a button for in the palatal face of the tooth, molar and premolar, crusade elastics, and expanded archware. All our archware are expanded since the first until the last. And look at the result. So I have an idea. Low cost and same efficiency can be together. And the idea was inventing prescriptions that are neither individualized nor standardized. And you take a project and present to EdTech the prescriptions based in malocclusions, nor in tooth by tooth, and not for all malocclusions, but based in the malocclusions. You see. Well, EasyClip was already considered the best national self-ligation bracket and one of the most exported since Brazil. I don't know if you just know his activation is very simple. You can open with a simple instruments without any kind of force. And to close is the same. Is easily. And you needed something easily to do that. Well, and we put together brackets and arcs, 4 pairs of arcs. Shape of the arcs for self-ligation system is not natural, it's always expanded like this. And expanded arcs do not generate artificial expansion, remember that. Each patient's final arch form is determined posterior transverse adaptation in the nickel titanium phases by flexible expanded wire. So the nickel titanium wires can help us in their evolutions to determine the phases of treatment. It's our question
excuse me, sorry. I think we have the first keyword or not, Dr.
I think that in this expanded arch, expanded arch.
Okay, thank you.
All patients here, it's ours by myself or by other teachers in our school or by our students. And it's another that has a very maxillary atresia. And look what it obtained with low friction for remodeling expansion and archware that are expanded. So it's different to do that. And the difference is that in using life force to facilitate the adaptation, you are not creating an artificially present arch from form, how used to occur with these rigid wires or other high forces means such expanders. Well, you can see a dentoalveolar remodeling, and this archwares, there is a protocol. In this forest, you can see a space that avoid the occlusion. Why? Because it would put a buildup in the second molars. Look, we'll talk about that forward. The phase Moderna Orto is this. The phase 1, initial, 14 and 25, with editing in the middle, if you need, if you have a lot of crowding. And phase 2, use in the first phase, phase 1, you begin leveling and alignment, initiate arch development, resolve 90% of rotation, intrude buccal segments, and begin the anterior-posterior and vertical correction. This arch. In the phase 2, called working, use 18-25 night eye and follow 19-25 stainless steel. Well, we need to take wax bite and coordinate patient-specific arc form to the steel, consolidate and remain minor spacing, and express majority of remaining torque with the steel. Well, in the phase 3, the finishing, we use it to this braided steel to use elastics of intercuspidation. This video can show us a complete transformation of smile and face. Look at that. It's a severe grounding. And the bottom, like I say here, and every tooth into the bone with a dentovelar remodeling, and allow it to it presents a quality of results so incredible. It's Dr. Better Bernagan. And you can have the same results using EasyClip. So the Moderna Orto prescription, there is a black box 727, 4 pairs of Q90 expanded 27 degrees arcs, torques and angulations, tips, combined with Q90 hardware for better tooth position at the end of malocclusion correction mechanics. So the box of one case and the torques and his tips. You have 4 prescriptions in Moderna Orto: standard to class 2, class 3, open bite, deep bite, and finally plus. With these 4 prescriptions and his hardware, you want to resolve all the malocclusions, all situations you have. For example, class 2 malocclusion, it is used to molar distalization, maxillar distalization, anterior retraction, extractions cases, closure of space, big protrusion, and maxillary protrusion. All that you need to put backward. Deep bite is especially to use in situations or you will need to use the arch, the reverse arch. I'm talking about that. Look this initial and final with reverse arch in our deep bite malocclusion, deep bite prescription. Class 3 open bite is the class 3 or skeletal anterior open bite to the same. The protocol is different, but the prescription and the actuar is the same. Look this before and after in this class 3 with our prescription. How I says, the same results you can get with Damon system. Class 1 malocclusion, the grounding with plus, severe grounding, ectopic canines, posterior crossbite, preparing surgery, and spacer reclamation. All these situations you can use plus. And about this prescription plus, look, this article is very I don't know the year. 2018, global distribution of malocclusion traits, a system review. Look at the conclusion. Angle class 1 malocclusion is more prevalent than class 2, specifically among African, but in all kind of racial population, you have that the crowding in the anterior segment of one of both arcs was the most frequent overall anomalies record. It's a case of this article. So, including in this systematic review, have 2 Turkish studies with a lot of school children or children by a health center examining a Caucasian. So the plus is very important prescription because you can resolve solution the high canines, for example, without to extraction bicuspids. But how can I do that? Starting cases with it's our protocol. Starting case with a 14 superelastic nickel titanium, or occasionally 13 superelastic nickel titanium wire, and always expanding. Leveling and alignment occur in much less time, with no apparent harmful effects on roots, bone, or tissue. In conventional treatment, if high maxillary cuspids are engaged, the normal response is for the advanced teeth to move superiorly, and including labially in response to the cuspids movement inferiorly. With low friction mechanics, cuspids erupt without adversely affecting the adjustment teeth. Why?
Just a second. I think we have the second one, right?
With low friction mechanics, it's right. Low friction.
Perfect.
Thank you, Edward. Well, we need to avoid notching if you want to treat high canines. It's the three kinds of friction. Friction, in Portuguese, is when the arc is engaged into the slots. Binding is this engagement. There is some more friction, like 2 points into the slot are touching. But notching, there is a great deflection of the arch and more than 3 points into the slot. So if you want to downward this canine, you need to avoid notching and act on binding to align. And only after this correction, you should progress to rectangular arch. You need to do that in what arch? 14 or 13 arch. In our protocol and in our prescription, you put there the 14. Look what used to pass this terrible situation. If you engage the archware into a high canine, notching results in a side effect similar to applying elastic ligature to a grounded tooth. So you necessitate the movement of neighboring teeth is in response, such as the pro-inclination of incisors, for example. Look that you have a pro-inclination of incisors to permit this canine come. It is notching. Look, notching transforms a self-ligation into a conventional one. For example, look this case. It's a self-ligation brace, and you have a 14 night tie, and here into the slot of the brackets, you have 3 points of friction. So this arc will then move with freedom. And what? Look at it, the result. The result is that incisors moving labially and lower and upper too. We need to avoid that. So how can I put high canine in its place without obstruction or a adverse effect on the incisors? Look, when this canine come, the root will labially. There is a labial movement. It's normal. It will occur always. But if put 11, the torque of this canine is 11, a very big positive torque, you can change the situation in the final of treatment. Look at that. But when you are in the round war, in the round arc war, you can, of course, you cannot do torque movement. But when I put a rectangular into the 1925, you can put this root in his place. If you don't do that, look the situation. The root is out of one. Look. In this case, look before the root of canine is out. So you put 11 positive torque and push them into the bone. And how you see a before and here and after, how it can to do beautiful. So the evolution that we indicate is something like that. Phase 1, 14, 18, and 40, 25. And phase 2, night tie, rectangular, 18, to prepare into Stewart 1925. And here 11 degrees. Another side, the canine was into the bone and you made the traction. So with open core, you got the space. The phase before, the phase in the middle of treatment with loss of torque and pro-inclination of incisors, and in the final, the phase with the torques. This case is a class 1-2 severe grounding canines in high position. This boy has a fragile facial profile, and you don't want to extract premolars. So you put our Moderna Orto Plus. Another side, frontal, and look for occlusion. It's impossible. It's impossible to put this canine here. But you can do that with distalization and some pro-inclination without loss of control. So the same, use the light force to prevent anterior proclination and including anterior trapezoid 5/16 or 6 ounce. Use light push coil spring in between to bring about anterior degrounding. Do not use any transverse holding device, please, such as transpalatinal arch or lingual arch, all this kind of transverse arch development. It's the phase 1. 4 months later, and you have this situation. The same arc. And now we put, look, the same. 14, level force, but expanded. The same. Now here, the first rectangular arc, 14, 25. And 7 months later, evaluating the arc. And now the evolution of this case is our student by Ecuador in Latin America. And he's now is a specialist in orthodontics and send us this case very, very happy because our happen to do this quality of our treatment. It's by another 2 students, the same class 1 crowding with high canines, a Brazilian girl, and they put the Moderna Orto Protocols. Look, she is in the limit of angulation and torque in the incisors. But you don't do extraction. You put a build-up and arc wear with level force for 8 at 10 weeks. And especially in this case, we put the brackets of incisors upside down because you have 12 and 8 in central incisor and lateral incisor. You have 12 and 8, and when you put this upside down, you have a less 12, minus 12, and a negative torque. To what? To do what? To maintain the ground in this side and to put the root to levelly. So negative torque has been increased to prevent the tendency of the lower incisors to procline. Look, if you have a grounding, of course, they want to procline, but at procline and in this situation in yellow, but if you put a negative torque, in this case, blues, you have like the MBT, you have the less 6 degrees. it can occur during the elimination of lower incisor ground, vestibularization. But you can do something that neutralizes this situation. Look. Another thing, an observation, pay attention, please pay attention. The best choice to avoid friction when aligning crown lower incisors is the EasyClip. EasyClip can be better than another self-ligation brackets, including Damon. Why? Because his wings, their wings, strategically weaved to allow the less pronounced binding. These wings can movement separate strategically to avoid a strong friction. It's Damon. And in the right, it's EasyClip. Look that we had 2.7 and EasyClip 2.72. But there is a play here, the 0.7, and there is a play here that almost not there, 2.7 millimeters. What it means? The EasyClip is designed to have better rotational performance than Damon. As its wings stand along the sides of the brackets. The wings is where are the side of the brackets. And it's offer more rotational control, and especially important to grounding. Look, the same case, we avoided the deflection of the wire to pull this left canine. We do not insert the wire into the bracket slot to avoid friction and its side effects on the incisors. No, let's wait. So the phase 2 with a rectangular arcs, phase 2, and we often use steel arch after the 4 pairs of archware, night-eye archware. Here, the steel arc. And the importance of steel arc. This includes posterior space closure, anterior-posterior dental correction, adjusting buccal-lingual discrepancy, the torque. Stainless steel archware are primarily used to maintain vertical and anterior-posterior buccal-lingual control, the torque, during the major mechanical phase of treatment. Major mechanical phase of treatment is the steel phase, phase 2, the stainless steel phase. And finally, finishing with elastics for intercuspidation. In this case, 517 medium. Use the B, but not in a cuspid first premolar, but using the 2 premolar lower premolar. So you call this extended V, braided and stainless steel. .516 and 100% expressed torques. We needed 4 months remover and lower fixed rotation 3x3. Look at that. Another case, we use a plus, but not canine growth, incisors growth. But look at class 1. And the overjet and the growth in the incisor relationship. The phase 1. And the phase 1 with biturbo, I'm talking about this. This case is 0.14 Q9 tie. And I put a biturbo to disarticulation of occlusion.
Doctor,
You have
I think we have the third one, right?
the third one.
Okay, thank you.
The last one. So the mean modes called biturbo by Artex, there is 4 size, and you can put in the palatal of the incisors like that. And why use biturbs? Well, to prevent you from beating off your lower brackets due to the bite, of course. But it's in yellow is the most important in the self-ligation cases. There's articulations to allow the light force to overcome the force of occlusion and mastication. Of course, the force of occlusion and mastication is taller, is highest the force of your air-to-air. Well, and posterior buildups cause molar intrusion in brachfacial patients. So in brachfacial patients, you always use biturbs. In endolichofacial patients, you can use in molars. The installation is easily, so easy. And the phase 2, now when you put the 14 for 25 kunai tai air-to-air, look, called the hurt and thaw of the system, because it completes leveling and rotational corrections, consolidated spaces, promoting arch form development, and starch control torque. Torque control. Well, the 1425 is not good to finish in torque, but they start torque control. The special indication of this art is promoting art form development. These arts were called the heart and soul of the system, especially because that the expand is its main function. The transversal posterior adaptation. Look, the lateral photographs. And now, without the lecture of all torques with a stainless steel, 19/25. And final, 12 months of treatment. I would like to speak in English how I just know to do that in these cases. Look, before and after. I believe it's the last case who have a severe atresia in the upper arch, and now a high canine again. Look, now you know this high canine will back to your position with a vestibularization of the root. So you need to put a high torque here when you begin work with a rectangular arch. The root come back to his space. Look this sequence. Work to distance it, to not do notching, knee binding, nothing. Now you put the archware into the slots, and we have a binding in a round archware. Now you are with a 1425 archware, and look the root. But this torque in this plus prescription EasyClip is 11. So the ground will be there, stopped, and the root will have a palatinization. Look, we are with the braided in the finish. The root is in a health position of your bone and periodont. And now when we finish, first appointment, September, 6 months between appointments, and we use elastic, triangular elastic, 316 medium. Well, and you are doing the niveling. Look, niveling the occlusal plane. Before, after. After. Occlusal photos. And another prescription that is very important to speak something is the deep bite. Because the deep bite, there is a torque lower incisors too low, less 11. Why? Because we work with rectangular lower reverse curve arcs. In this article, this doctor says that deep overbite correction use reverse arch led to incisors proclination. Of course, the people have a fear of a reverse arch. This was in agreement with previous studies. There is incisor proclination, which confirmed that when using reverse curve archware to open the bite, the incisors become more proclined. Well, it's the condition that can occur with collateral effects, adverse effect of a reverse arch. So we need put the deep bites prescription, the EasyClip by Moderna Orto, in patients with increased overbite. How these patients, when more than half of the lower incisor, when you have the overbite more than half of the lower incisor, so you have a deep overbite. So in this video, you can see what happened when you use a reverse arch. But I prefer to use a reverse arch. I prefer to use a reverse arch versus use arcs or 3 arcs together. It's not simple to me. I prefer reverse arch because it is a straight wear arch, a continuous arch. But it's dangerous. So less minus 11. Look that. It's our case, our office. Lower reverse curve arcs, 17 and 1905, 1725 and 1925. Keeping for 6 months in minimum. Look, the same patient, a brachyfacial growth, and I use 7 for 4 months and 19 for more 2 months. But where are the pro-inclination of incisors? I don't have this problem with my very negative torque, inferior lower torque. It's another case of a student over a deep bite, a great deep bite, and reverse arch associate a negative torque in the lower incisors. And finally, before and after, but don't forget, it is less 11 associate reverse arch. Well, I just finished it. This is a case being treated by one of our students, a spectacular case by class 3, a Latin American student, and our prescription. And the very important message is this. And here is how our students see themselves after studying with us, after studying with our protocols, our kind of think the orthodontics. You can improve more courage and efficiency. Well, if you want to follow us in Instagram, you are here, and our name is Moderna Orto. And I appreciate if you stay with us to receive more clinical cases and more protocols of work. Anybody want to be alone? So thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Sorry, my poor English.
It was perfect. Thank
I'm
you
aware.
so much.
I'm tired. I'm tired to intend to communicate with you. But
Yeah,
Eduardo, Aditec, and other friends, everybody, thank you so much. God bless everyone.
thank you so much. It was very, very nice. Many, many knowledge shared with us. And we do have three questions. Do you think we can go it very quickly?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so the first one is, Doctor, you mean that the last 19 by 25 wire stainless steel, not copper, so we can use the same wire with traditional ortho device?
Yeah. The stainless steel, you can buy this preformed uh, in the market, and you need to individualize this. Put exactly how exactly as the art is after you finish the 18 for 25. So you are doing the adaptation, transversal adaptation, 14, 14 for 25, 18, 25, and for after 18, 10 weeks with 18, 45. It's enough. It's just the physiological limits of this expansion, this adaptation. So now you need to take and registrate in the same kind of do that since the specialization of orthodontics to put a text byte and formed your preformed stainless steel. I don't know if you understand me.
Okay, I think so. We have three more. Dr. Mohammed Rafat has asked, on which basis should I decide to use high-low standard torque for each tooth during case planing?
It's your, can you put there in the chat?
Yes. Okay.
In the name
In
of
the chat, Mohammed Rafat. In the chat already.
Muhammad Hafa.
Yes.
I still can't understand that question.
Yes.
Now I read too. Okay. I still can understand on which basis should I decide to use how low standard torque for it to during case planing. Well, Dr. Hafat, I can send to you our prescriptions because I don't have an individualized prescription, tooth by tooth. This customized prescription, tooth by tooth, is a high cost to our situation context in Brazil, in Latin America. It's something that the Damon system. For another side, we don't have this standardized prescription. HOS, for example. No. You have 4 prescriptions that you take this different torques, different standard high or loss, and put in this situation to correct the determining malocclusion. What malocclusion? This four, class 3 or open bite, deep bite, class 1 malocclusions, or class 2. For example, if we want to do retraction in a class 2 malocclusion by extraction or distalization, whatever, if you want to do some retraction, can you see me? You lost torque. You lost torque during the retraction, you know that. So, and you lost the overbite, the works overbite, and your retraction, you stay in the middle of the way. So we need to put in these incisors of class 2 during retraction, you need to put high torque. You need to have here high torque, because during my rotation with Stalin steel, the high torque will fight against the loss of torque during the rotation, during the inclination of this crown to palatal. So this is an example of a basis to decide. You need to decide, not based in the malocclusion, but you're right. I know what I want to talking about. The basis is not the malocclusion. The base is the biomechanics and the mechanics and the straight wear mechanic that you applied to solve this malocclusion. So you don't think about the malocclusion. Think about what am I doing to correct this malocclusion. And the name of that is biomechanic. So if I retract high torque, if in elastic of class 3, I will put the incisors laterally, severely laterally, with pro-inclination. So I need to put low torque here in these 4 tooths to limit it, the pro-inclination. This pro-inclination is not a result of malocclusion. This pro-inclination results of your elastic biomechanic to correct class 3. I sincerely hope you understand me. But Dr. Rafa, I can send to you by Instagram. If you write me in this direct of Instagram, I send to the prescriptions and how can I use this, and everybody that follow us and ask us for message, you can send our protocols. How can I work with these 4 prescriptions of EasyClip Adtech? Okay.
I also shared my email contact here. So if you have any